Dear all, thank you so much for joining us today for this specific transmission in this point in time. This will be the last in the short series around the transmutation of energies and emotions. Today, specifically, the message from Spirit would be to explore your creative impulses. One of the reasons that energies and emotions have not been able to be transmuted in humanity's consciousness is because humanity has stopped expressing itself according to the unique traits with which each human was imbued. These unique traits come out in creative expressions. For some, that may look like being an academic, such as this one here, trans-channeling this specific message. For others, it may look like painting a painting, playing the piano, helping at the animal shelter, planting a garden. Yes, for some it may even be a little more radical. It might be advocacy on the front lines. For some, the creativity comes out by being an ascetic, high up on the mountaintops all by themselves when they camp and they listen to the quietness of the forests. Creativity comes in many shapes, in many tastes, in many visuals, and in many tangible experiences. When an individual does not tap into their creativity, does not follow what they are excited about or what they would want to express in their free time, they are, unfortunately, igniting stagnation in their physical bodies and in their emotional and spiritual bodies. You see, creativity is simply the flowing expression of energy that transmutes time and energy into something that is very close to channeling, which is the creative expression of creator inside of each and every individual. You see, creative force expresses itself through individual lives. It expands itself by being unique. In other words, creator force expresses itself through one person by being uniquely them, uniquely interested in the things that they are interested in, uniquely expressing themselves in the way they like to express themselves. So if we do not express ourselves creatively, we are in fact getting in the way of creator force being manifested in us. And therefore, we subjugate ourselves to a lower level potential, oftentimes just rigorous mechanical copying behavior of the status quo in mainstream society instead of the unique expression with which we were imbued and were asked to come into this lifetime. In other words, it is actually your responsibility to express yourself creatively by following those things that you are excited about, those things that ignite passion and flow states within you, those crafts and mastery journeys that might be unique, unorthodox, weird, strange, or even seen as a path that only outcasts would take. One way to transmute energies and emotions that are stuck is to fully engage with that specific thing that you want to express. Now, the English language tries to capture that with the word hobby or pastime or leisure activity. But the reality is, many of these hobbies you could have adopted from others or simply followed suit with expectations by mainstream society. However, so-called leisure or hobbies should really be those moments and experiences in which you are most authentically yourself, no matter how strange or weirdly creative that combination might look like. When you do so, you allow your own being to express creative force energy in flow. And that flow allows for emotions and energies, yes, even external energies, to flow through you and transmute into something that is filled with enjoyable vibrations and therefore freed from the more restricting wirings of quote unquote bad energies or stagnant energies. Therefore, it is of great importance for you to find what you are interested in, what you want to do, what you're excited about, even if it only lasts 2 months, even if it only lasts 2 hours. Follow suit with what interests you, because it is part of your organic transmutation process, part of how you maintain yourself healthy, and you allow those in your environment to also be authentically themselves and express their creative energy, therefore creating a continuous flow of electricity vibration and not allowing for things to stay stuck, especially not those things that are less enjoyable or of lower frequencies and vibration. That is the great message of transmutation, put into several short videos on this channel. Now, there is more to come, and you will notice that the format with which this specific channel will bring forth her videos is going to be very much in line with the academic notion of series or chapters or modules. In other words, we will give short classes on specific concepts, constructs, or paradigms that might require some additional breakdown for individuals to understand with greater clarity and simplicity. The reality is that most of the knowledge around how reality is created and how you can influence your own environment and life path is very much out there. However, oftentimes this information is locked behind gatekeeper doors, or it is locked behind expensive courses. And we would like to give insight into some of these more mystic topics without having to charge or require certain inaugurations into mysteries and other more secret knowledge spheres. Why do we want to do so? Because humanity is ready to hear, even in the mainstream, messages around self-care, inner peace, and self-leadership. See, the reality with transmutation of energies and emotions actually requires a lot of self-leadership. It requires the willingness to invest time into getting to know yourself, getting to know what you like, what you dislike, what you prefer, and what you do not prefer. It requires the strength to draw boundaries around things that you would not want to see in your environment, and it requires the self-discipline to pursue the things that you do prefer. Now, with all of these things also comes the necessity to not overdo anything. Any extremes are usually harmful to your body, soul, and spirit. It is always of great necessity for you to take balanced approaches that are filled with curiosity and a sense of adventure, but never filled with fear or need or have or must. The reality is a lot of these energies of need, have, must, or should are expectations that were put on you, voices that are not really yours, but that you adopted from your early childhood, or maybe even from having heard them all your life throughout society. We wish for you to be freed from these voices, for the most authentic expression of yourself is the greatest and highest service that you can bring to humanity and this world. Oftentimes humans misunderstand and believe that they have to be part of a greater cause, a greater group of people, or even an army to change the world for the better. But the reality is, if you have not found ways to change you for the better, within yourself, for yourself, and in honor of yourself, then nothing can change in the outer world. This is simply universal law. Everything is a mirror onto itself. Your outer world, or how you perceive your outer world, is simply mirroring back to you what you carry within. So if you see great darkness, despair, sadness, and frustration, know that it is mostly simply an energy that is passing through you, and that energy must not stay stagnant within you. No, in fact, that is an erroneous thought. these types of energies are simply there to be transmuted, let go of, and then substituted with energies that you do prefer and actually enjoy. It is a journey of self-mastery that a lot of humans have forgotten. Many masters do talk about it, but then they add aspects of guilt, shame, and oftentimes even force or violence in there. The idea of punishment for ignorance is far removed from what we, spirit, would like to communicate with humans. Punishment and the fear of punishment has been used in the last 2,000 years and even beyond to keep humanity docile, uninterested in getting to know itself and the power that it holds. We strongly encourage you that whenever you come across a paradigm that encourages punishment of yourself, guilt, shame, especially fear, please take words that are spoken around those paradigms with great caution, for they can cause great disturbance in your hearts, in your minds, souls, and bodies. As Spirit, we thank you for your attention so far, and we look forward to all the other beings, energies, and messages that will come through in this channel as we go along following different types of series around paradigms, philosophies, and ways to increase personal well-being and inner peace in your lives. Change your within so that you can change the without. With much love, this is Spirit, and goodbye.